Turn your mic on, I will.
Can you give us an update on Mike Smith?
He had a short skate before practice today, and I haven't talked to, but he's feeling better. He's feeling better, but wanted to skate alone this morning before he jumped into practice. So I'll see where he is tomorrow.
Can you see him playing this week?
I would put him very doubtful for Wednesday, but I'm not ruling out next Saturday.
And you referenced Zach Hyman scoring a lot of 1-inch goals. Does it take a special player to do that, or do you have to have the skill to actually figure your way out to get to where you're those 1-inch goals?
He has a way of getting to the bottom of the pile, closest to the puck. And that one he scored the other night there's a big pile up, but he seemed like he was at the right layer to move it ahead. So he gets in there. I mean, he's hard around that crease. He gets his nose over the puck and he finds where it is, and he can usually advance it the right direction.
And the power play asked Connor this about the drop pass to him coming up the ice, and then the other one I asked him about, does he expect somebody on the penalty kill to just start following him around? He said that used to happen in junior, turned to 5-on-4 into 4-on-3. Have you seen that yet from any penalty kill?
I've seen people think about how they're going to take him away. I've never seen anybody go and take Connor, but if you do that, you're leaving yourself pretty open to just. There's other people on the ice too. Draisaitl's pretty adept at carrying it in also, and so is Nuge. So haven't seen that much. Hasn't been a concern.
You were in Pittsburgh when Mario was there. Did the teams try to take Mario away on the power play?
I saw Mario just go and stand in the neutral zone a couple times, and we played 4-on-3 for a while.
How'd that work?
Not very good.
Thanks.
With McDavid, right here in the middle, Dave. With McDavid, he's off to a pretty good offensive start here. Are you notice anything in his offensive game? Anything he's added, or any instincts, or maybe he's shooting a little bit more? But what are you seeing?
Probably if there's anything, it's the shot mentality a little bit more, especially off that flank on the power play. He shot the puck more this year, but he has the puck a lot, but ability to get it on net. I think the other thing is just we're talking about there. You got Jesse and Hyman and people in front of the net. He thinks he can shoot it, and people are there, So if there is one thing, maybe a little more shooting mindset in him.
From the standpoint of working on things in his game, we've watched him practice for years, and he's always worked on things here and there, but he seems to really be focusing on different things this year, and do you see him, not that he wasn't before, but just thinking it a little bit differently?
Well, he's always trying to add stuff to his game. I mean, I think if you look at the players that have come in, and Crosby's a great example of, he comes in as a young player and he was struggling on face-offs. He worked on face-offs and he worked on his backhand. And Connor is no different. Like he's worked on his face-offs. He's worked on shooting the puck. He's worked on one-timers. And that's what those players do. They're looking to expand what they can do. And where they're expanding from is at a really high place already, So Connor's no different than a lot of players. He's trying to get better, but the standard where he's starting from is different from a lot of players.
Dave, with this early season success, through your experiences, is there anything that coaches need to do to keep the group sharp, to keep the momentum going? Do you find there's little tricks here and there, or how do you go about doing that?
There's all, we're early in the year. There's little things. We talk about it, every couple of days we'll have video, and some of them are the simplest things about, little things like puck work on the wall, when to eat it, when not to eat it, and there's lots of little things you just keep harping on all the time. And we got there's still lots of improvement needed in our game. There's different structural stuff that we could be, not that we do it, don't do it. There's sometimes when it's not as consistent as it needs to be. So there's a lot of parts, and even the Vegas game, you see that we were too loose at times. We just made some structural errors that I think some of it was, that was the third game in 4 nights with travel. You could tell there was some fatigue in our group. But that being said, you that's when you try to take your game to another level, like that consistency. Instead of having a game where you're 70% in consistency, get that to 85 or 90. So those are the things that we talk about all the time. Just improvements of not revamping our game, but improvements of the things that we do them better, longer, and give ourselves a better percentage chance of winning.
Good afternoon, Dave. Just in the back here. Just a couple more questions on your captain. After practice, he's the best skater in the world, yet he still continues to refine his edge work and skating time and time again. What message does that send to his teammates and also kids who look up to Connor?
Well, it's a great message, that as good a player is, he's always striving to get better. You see him out there after practice today. He's working with Dave Pelche and between puck work, edge work. I mean, he does it all the time. He's a very driven athlete. He wants to get better, but he wants to make sure that his base is in place so he can be as good as he can be. So he has an unbelievable work ethic, and you're right, it rubs off on everybody. It does. And
then, just piggybacking off that, you've been around the game for a long time. You've coached a lot of great players, been around a lot of great players. What's the common denominator between McDavid and those all-time greats that you've been around?
There's just an aura about those top guys that, and the thing that's always fascinated me about those guys, and I played a year with Mario, is they accept the pressure of being a top player. Like it's hard being a top player every night. The expectations are huge, and that's Connor's in that group, Leon's in that group. So that expectation factor of being great every night, that's the pressure to go out there and do it. That's another element that a lot of players don't ever get to. There was a lot of nights I would come home and my wife would ask me how I played. I said, well, I thought I played all right. I said, sometimes as good as I wanted to be, the game didn't let me be good because I was sitting on the bench. So those expectations, those top players, they have expectations that are very high, and the ability for them to get to and exceed those expectations is pretty remarkable to watch.
You talked about that group in your time around the game. Is there a player that you've been around that Connor, his work ethic kind of is similar to?
Well, I think there's a lot. You look at the great players, like I was, you watch, I just referenced Crosby. I mean, he came along as a young guy and just, the work ethic he puts in the game and the ability to get better. And I mean, it's young players like that have phenomenal ability. They're fun to watch, and Connor, like I say, Connor's in that group.
Dave, you've used Evan Bouchard next to Darnell Nurse for about a game and a half now. What do you see in Evan when he's playing with Darnell, and what do you like about that pairing so far?
Evan has the defensive part of his game has really taken a step forward. He's really, like I know everybody talks about, he's an offensive player and a smart puck mover and everything, but his ability to read plays, his ability to get some things stopped. He's playing some good minutes on the PK for us now. His defending ability has taken a real step forward, and it's Nursey plays against a lot of top players, and that defending ability he's got has helped us.
Did you kind of sense that he had that in him last season when he was, on the taxi squad a lot of the year and doing reps at the end of practice? Was there something that you saw there that you said, oh, maybe he could be that kind of defensive type player for you?
He's a good player, but I think all through junior, I know when I got here, everybody just talked about defense, and offense, the offensive, and there was a defensive side that he knew he had to get to be a good NHL player, and I give him a ton of credit. He's dug into the defending part of it. Him and Jimmy Playfair spent a lot of time together. We looked at a lot of penalty killing this summer. I mean, he's turned himself into a real good player just by the mindset of he has to be a good two-way player, not just an offensive player. And we're seeing the benefits of his work he's put in.
And when you're deciding whether or not to play him with Nurse or Tyson Barrie there, what kind of goes into that decision? Is a lot of it matchups or how well Evan is playing or vice versa?
Yeah, there's matchup stuff, there's situational stuff that come into play. All right, thanks.